111, and you're going to graciously give them 4 days off now.
That was the plan anyway.
Yeah, but have they deserved, have they played well enough that you feel good about giving this team 4 days off?
What I feel good enough about is that they have, for the most part, been extremely coachable. They have brought a renewed enthusiasm into practice. You know, I told all of them, I'm going back to, I'm gonna coach you hard. You know, I'm not gonna cheat you like before. I'm gonna make sure that we coach every play and coach every play in practice. And they've been great. You know, a lot of people don't take that the right way. They've been terrific.
Bob, this kind of game this close to Christmas, is this what the doctor ordered?
Well, it was for me because we've lost before Christmas the last 3 years, and I've been absolutely freaking miserable. Miserable. And I had all my brothers and sisters over there last year, and I had to go in the bedroom. I had to sit in the bedroom and stare at the wall for 3 hours before I could even look at anybody. So I'll be a lot happier.
Coach, with Elijah, it seems like he's kind of taken steps throughout the season and progressing. Where do you see him at now? And then also, you know, when he was going through that tough stretch with family and everything at the beginning, how do you handle that as a coach? And what kind of things do you say and do, or do you kind of just let him handle it? Or
No, you can't just let him handle it. You know, I lost my mother, who was the closest person in the world to me, and so you know, we talk. Eric's been great with him. Eric Martin's been terrific with him. You know, I mean, it's been hard on the kid. You know, he's not allowed to practice last year. He can't play in the games. You know, he sees the guys that he came in with are all out there playing. You know, John wasn't able to play, but John could at least practice and be part of the team that way. You know, he just it's kind of like he was I don't want to say outcast because he was never treated that way, but I think he kind of started to feel that way. It's taken him a while to get back in basketball condition. It's taken him a while to get back to doing the things that he does. But you know, he listens. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was very, very heavily recruited, who's accepted a role coming off the bench, and him and Devin splitting time. And so, I mean, Elijah's been great. But Elijah's a great guy. You know, Elijah is really, really a good person, and he's really well liked with the players. And you know, I think anybody who gets to spend any time with him, he's a good guy.
he said that he's basically known you since he was in the 8th grade. I'm just wondering, did you just happen to come across him in 8th grade? Did you hear about him? Did you, you remember when you first saw him? Or?
Well, Justin, you have to understand that when I left here at 10 years old, I spent the rest of my time until I came back here in Ohio. And my father had the first basketball camp in the state of Ohio, first overnight basketball camp in the state of Ohio, and we had tons and tons of kids go through there. My brother runs it now and has tons and tons of kids go through there. My dad is a legend in Ohio. I mean, when you ask anybody in Ohio to name, whatever the greatest coaches in the history of Ohio, they mention my dad. So I know Ohio. I know people in Ohio. I mean, that's. And there were people who said, Hugs, you got to get on this guy early, and we got him. He came into. We had a camp, and they got him down here to camp, and so yeah, I mean we've known Elijah for a long, long time, and we've stuck with Elijah, and Elijah stuck with us. There were a lot lot of people who, when he went to Huntington Prep, tried to get in and recruit him, and he really wouldn't have any of it. And there were people who tried to get in and recruit him when he went to Brewster, and he wouldn't have any of that. He's just, he's a loyal guy, and I think he understands we've been loyal to him, and he understands we care about him. I think, the difference between these guys and some of the other guys that we've had in the last few years is there's a trust there. There's a trust there, and there's a relationship there. And relationships are two-way streets, And when you're constantly looking for what's on the other side, and you're constantly looking at what can I get tomorrow, and you're not taking care of today, it makes it hard. And we got a bunch of guys like Elijah that really want to win. They really want to be special. They have, I think, engulfed the culture and the fabric of our state way better than other people have. I'm not going to give them that they're what the Final Four team was yet, because those guys were terrific in terms of how they felt about the state, and I think that shows now because they're all back here all the time. But these guys are going to, I think, end up being the same way. They're going to end up with an unbelievable affinity, not just for the basketball program here, but this university and this state and the people in this state, and they know how much they're appreciated. So, you just don't get a bunch of guys that they get excited about going in the line for a shift. You don't get that very often. It's very rare. This is a good bunch.
Bob, your offensive improvement in recent games, is it just as simple as making shots better?
Coaching, just all coaching.
The things they're doing better besides just
we're making better shots. We still got so far to go. We just I think what I said a few weeks ago. We've ham and egged it pretty good. When some guys aren't making shots, somebody else is. And our execution gets better. It gets better the more we play, the more they play together. It gets better. It's still got a long way to go. Our transition offense has got to get. That's what's really got to get better. We have so many opportunities that we don't score in, and we turn it over a couple times a day. I think the positive thing is Jayshon came down and made an absolutely horrible pass, but instead of standing there like what happened before, he turns, runs, and steals the ball back. And that's when the guys are buying in, the guys are really competing. I just wish we wouldn't have to do that. I wish we would throw away the first time, but it happens.
Bob, you kind of expect Juwan Staten to have double-figure scoring, but 10 rebounds tonight for double-double. Can you talk a little bit about his game this evening?
Well, that's something that we've talked to him about. I think, when with John, because John has rebounded the ball pretty well, and Devin has rebounded the ball pretty well, I think he was leaking out a little bit more, and not leaking out to score, but leaking out to get us into transition. And, he was one of our better rebounders a year ago. And I think you saw where we started to struggle a little bit rebounding the ball at the defensive end. So, we talked to him about, man, you got to go help us. You've been one of our better rebounders. And, generally you don't really have as much block out responsibility with a point guard. Nobody sends their point guard in there crashing with the offensive glass. So he's kind of free to see where the ball's going, go get it.
You've got some work to do. You're behind state now in technical fouls.
I'll catch up. I've got a lot of confidence in that. But if you count technical warnings, I've got a bunch of warnings.
You tell him what he does up.
Technical warnings, what is that?
Anything else?